Happy New Year. I hope everyone is ready to face the rest of our semesters. To be continued up until like study leave. Supposedly our study leave has been cancelled due to the recent holidays been given earlier lah, to handle flooding certain areas for those affected. That said, there might be who knows, right? Allah decide whether or not we'll be facing another event of flooding. So if it's true that we will face some flooding, further flooding in your area, I guess we can expect for you to have another extra holidays. I hope for you to handle those area that has been affected. But for now, supposedly we should be continuing. And initially I was going to share this with you before we started our year-end holiday, last week punya holiday. But since UiTM has instructed all lectures to be postponed until today, until this week, so what to do lah? I have to brief to you now lah kot. Okay, that said, my colleagues have managed to get the data, the actual data that you guys can use for your mini project, which you have to remember, your mini project is, where's the outline? Your mini project is 50%. Propose a workable energy management system, 50% of your whole lecture punya assignment, carry mark, sorry. That's it. Your test is only 30%, so you have to put more focus on your group project. So don't take this very lightly, because this is the chunk of your carry mark for the whole semester for this subject, which is 50%. Since you guys don't have final, this can be considered as your final. Okay, so that said, compared to previous years, my team has, I think, helped you guys quite a lot significantly, such that you guys now don't have to go around and find some other unrelated punya, not unrelated lah, I mean, some random data that you guys should find from the internet. So this time around, we'll be using actual data we get from UiTM, Dungun itself, which actually is a very good data because UiTM has implemented solar technology, solar panel technology, which actually, if we go through the data, which I'm going to do just now, about right now, shows significant impact. So I know the group project supposedly is for you to propose a workable energy management system. So what it meant is that what I expect you to do is for you to come up with a proposal to another set of maybe another what you call that, another company or another IPTA, using the data that you got from UiTM Terengganu to propose to them the same approach lah, which is to use solar panel. Again, for you to propose a solar panel solution to another factory or company or IPTA is actually requires you to come up with a huge capital for them. You will need to propose to them a huge amount of capital to be allocated for the project. So most of them wouldn't be agreeable to your proposal. But in that sense, what you can do is to propose to you the same scheme that UiTM has done, which is using the ESCO approach, which means UiTM don't have to fork out their own capital. If your client don't have to fork out their own capital to install the solar panel, but what UiTM did was, UiTM Cawangan Terengganu specifically, sebab UiTM Shah Alam tak buat lagi. This is only for UiTM Terengganu. What we did was, back then my team proposed to use the approach of ESCO, which ESCO, if you recall, ESCO is energy supply company. So they are the one who fork out the capital to install the solar panel and all the maintenance for the period time given, uh, agreed upon with UiTM. And after maybe certain years only will that saving be uh, realized by UiTM Terengganu. So in the meantime here, until, if I'm not mistaken, until 10 years, from 2020, starting from 2020 up until 2030, all the saving realized from the monthly electricity bill will be the ESCO will get the savings. I mean, we pay the actual amount we've been paying. For example, in 2019, before we used the what you call that solar panel energy, we are paying almost 200,000. So we'll be paying to the ESCO a certain agreed upon amount based on previous data to the ESCO, and ESCO will pay TNB bills according to the electrical consumption, actual electrical consumption that UiTM has drawn from TNB sources, and the rest of the saving will be the ESCO will collect lah for their keuntungan. So up until 10 years, and until then, once they have leave off the maintenance, the operation wise, the warranty and whatnot, then only then, when everything is falls under UiTM care, will the realization of the electricity bill be gained for UiTM. So that's the ESCO approach. It's going to take a long time, but this is what you can propose to your client for your mini project. Okay, so this data first I have actually included it in your link, which is here, this one, the data tenaga 2020 campus Dungun. So this is actual data that we've got from BPF, who manage the solar panel data logging. So you can access this and it will bring you to this Excel file, which you can download. So I have to remind to you that this is actually PNC. Don't use this data and willy-nilly share it in your social media and whatnot, because this is actually PNC. So if we can trace it down to you and you did expose this data to your social media, I mean to the mass market, then the ESCO can sue you. Not UiTM. UiTM boleh, tapi ESCO most probably are the one who's going to sue you lah. So make sure use this only for this subject. Jangan expose this data to the outside world. Not to say because UiTM takkan sue you lah. This is actually the data yang UiTM boleh sue awak juga. So make sure to observe the PNC of this data. Just to let you know, heads up. Okay, so as well, in that group project link summary, you can also see some of the rubric that I'm going to use to evaluate your report and also your presentation, evaluation project, presentation rubrics for you to prepare yourself on how I'm going to mark you. So make sure whatever work that you've done, adhere to the marking scheme lah. So jangan buat kerja merepek-repek, elaborate banyak-banyak tapi sebenarnya tak menjawab pun rubrik-rubrik yang saya kena guide ni. This is actually the guidelines set up by UiTM. So I have to follow this rubric and I'll leave it to you so that you can guide or narrate your report and your presentation according to the rubric lah, so that you can maximize your scores. Again, carry mark for report and presentation will be 50% of the whole semester punya carry mark for this subject. So make sure to adhere towards ni kami membantu, saya membantu juga ni, saya share ni so that korang tak meraba-raban cerita benda lain. Okay, and then this sample is actually not an actual good sample. Okay, sorry, this sample is actually a sample that we have been doing for previously before UiTM Terengganu decided to use solar panel. This is on the actual stages, but this is more on getting the what you call that, the certification, EMGS certification, the 1-star, 2-star, 3-star. So this is more on that lah, not so much on the energy proposal that the group project want you to do. Hold on, is it this one? No, that's the group project punya ni. Course outline lah, betul lah. Ni. Which is the one that is requested of you is to propose a workable energy management system, whereby the sample here is more on getting the certification. So this is not so much on helping you to that extent, but there's another sample report that I'm going to use in the next class so that we can share with the other class under Cik Azri, so that we will be at the same page. But basically, these are the things that you can see from what me and my team have done for UiTM Terengganu. So you can pick a few things here and there, lah. Not all, because this is more catered towards getting the EMGS certification, whereby you guys need to come up with a proposal. So you have to have EEI, what you call that, Qsum and whatnot, lah. Whereby this one is just to get the what you call that, the energy standard, the star ratings. So there's no EEI and baseline, and this is more on trend line and why we need to get the gold certification. So but the what you can derive from here is the how me and my team draft up our proposal to UiTM as our client. Which, as you can see, there should be proper formatting. This is actually the normal way for you moving forward as an energy manager to come up with a proposal, which have to be, I mean, there wouldn't be any, there's no actual guideline for you to do your proposal, but the best practice is to have this format, executive summary, subjective, and introduction, so that your client can see what you're trying to propose to them and make things clear for them, when you're trying to present it to your solution to them. Okay. So this sample proposal, I'll be elaborating more later in the other class. But for now, I just want to discuss more on the data so that you guys are able to understand what this data pertains, so that you can, include it in your report much more efficiently. Okay. Okay, so this data, again, you can get it from your link summary, where everything is being included here, and also the group report format. What is okay? This one is also going to be elaborated more in the next class, which include the other class, so that we will be on the same page. So this is the guideline that you need to adhere to in your reports. So you need to have these kind of details. But more on this later. Again, for now, it's more on the data itself. So we'll go to this data tenaga 2020 campus UiTM Dungun. Okay, so the same Excel file. So you can download this. Except that for today, I'm going to include another tab here because I just played around with the data to help you, to help me explain to you what the data is on about. Okay, so my advice to you is to download this data first so that we can be on the same page as I elaborated on the data, what the data is, and also how to use this data to analyze it. Okay, but let me figure out how to arrange my screen so that it's much more effective. I guess we can just minimize this. Okay, and then make this bigger and put this here. Hold on, yeah. So that the picture will be much clearer. Okay, one more thing. Before I proceed, let me close this first. Additionally, in your lecture notes, if you recall last few weeks, I guided you towards how to plot Qsum chart. Now, this note, I had just known today, I guess, that there actually exists an extended version, which actually does not imply affect your progresses towards understanding the subject that much, given that now we are doing it. So it does helps. It's just that this is the updated how to plot Qsum chart compared to the one that we have discussed, I think, in 15th of December, which is in the mass lecture. If you look at the link of the notes here, of the lecture video here, I'm using the how to plot Qsum chart, the old version, which only stops at getting the regression value, but does not actually elaborate on how to calculate the Qsum. So the one that I'm going to discuss to you today is the updated version, not to say updated, more like extended version, where after you've done getting the equation, which is this part, then you can use this, let me zoom it in, sorry, 100%, how can I zoom this? Okay, 150, all right. So previously, from our last note on how to plot Qsum charts, we stopped here, just getting the equation data, how to get the linear approximation of the data or the sample data, which is this one, and then get the linear equation to get, and then plot the r squared so that we'll be able to have this value lah. But what do we do with the linear equation? So that's where actually the extended version comes in, and it shows to you how you can see the Qsum in action. And for this, rather than I explore this into detail, might as well I'll just go into the data that we have. Of course, this one you can, I've already updated in the link summary, so you can get this directly from the link in your notes folder, lecture notes, item number 4, which will bring you towards here. And I've already replaced the old version of how to plot Qsum chart to the new one that has the extended explanation here. So rather than we go through this again, I'm going to use the actual data that you're going to use for your mini project so that it helps you much better to see what the notes is about. Okay, first I'm going to zoom this in. Okay, first, before we go into detail on how to analyze the data, first we have to understand what does the data show. Okay, so first off, the data, you have 3 tabs here. If you first look if you downloaded the Excel sheet, you won't see sheet 1 analysis, because this one I had just added just now because I want to play around with the data. But the one that you received once you have downloaded the Excel, you'll be seeing Dungun 2019, Dungun 2020, and Dungun 2021. So first we look at the first tab, which is Dungun 2019. So all the other parts here, you might not want to have a look at, because this is more into the electricity, I mean, to validate the data. You might not want, just can overlook it. Just tengok macam tu je. But the one that we are interested in is this table here. Okay. The same goes for Dungun 2020 and Dungun 2021. Okay. So for Dungun 2019, the first column that we might want to look is the month, and then the RM, the UITM has been paying, UITM Cawangan Terengganu specifically, and then the kilowatt hours being used, and also the maximum demand. Okay, first off, that you must know is that UITM Terengganu falls under commercial building. So the tariff that UITM has to observe is actually C1, which compared to residential, the one that you've been paying for your house, if you revert back to slide, I think this second chapter, I think, if I'm not mistaken, on the first chapter on how to understand electricity bill. I think there's first or second chapter, double check on me. But there's the specific elaboration on which tarif falls under for your house and which falls under the one that I'm trying to that we are going to propose for our client. For UiTM, it's under C1, which we have to include maximum demand because this is falls under commercial. Not to say UiTM is for commercial building, but there is a significant demand of chiller or machinery that during peak hours burden the demand the TNB supply line overall for them to supply properly to UiTM punya energy consumption lah. So that's why for UiTM Terengganu we have to pay, not for UiTM Terengganu only, the whole UiTM any kind of FPTA typically they will need to pay, they will fall under C1 because they have to consider maximum demand. Okay. So for maximum demand, for C1, you have to consider the actual electrical energy being used and also the maximum demand that you actually use for that peak hours. So your RM here is actually inclusive of, when you want to calculate your RM, you need to calculate kilowatt hours plus MD, maximum demand kilowatt hours. This is basically macam penalty lah, sebab kita menggunakan electricity yang banyak pada waktu peak hours, especially UiTM, because we using chillers, which actually very, I mean compared to residential, you guys only use a normal air condition punya unit tu, so dia punya demand tu tak banyak sangat. But office building, kilang, and also any kind of machinery yang memang banyak electrical consumption, typically we will have to account for maximum demand in their daily monthly punya bills. So this bill 214 430 ni is actually considering kilowatt hours and also maximum demand. Okay, tu concept first because UiTM under C1 punya tarif. Okay, as you can see here, almost average UiTM Terengganu is paying around, in 2019 is paying around 250,000 and above. No, yalah, averaging 230 above lah, basically, except for February and also August. Why? Because February and August typically is your, what you call that, break, semester break. Semester break, so tak ramai student, tak ramai aktiviti kedai buka because student tak ada. So they downgrade dia orang punya electrical energy consumption. They don't have to pay that much. They are not using electrical energy consumption that much because they are not catering to you guys being here in your, physically being here in your Terengganu. So as you can see, electricity bill in almost every month, UiTM is actually paying 230,000. Banyak So that's why bila UiTM cakap potong budget tu, inilah due to this nak bayar ni, nak bayar your kelangsungan pembelajaran dan pengajaran. So imagine korang hanya bayar satu sem a few thousand if I'm not mistaken, 1,000 something, 1,000 something. Even if you guys comes in at 2,000 per batch pun, which apparently right now you guys are only what 200, 100% je per batch, tak cukup nak bayar bil api saja. We are talking about bil api saja, not the maintenance machine lagi, nak beli diode yang meletup orang buat kat lab lagi, tak cukup ni yang I'm talking about engineering lah. For business most probably nak beli kertas for you guys pun untuk pembelajaran-pengajaran pun sebenarnya tak cukup kalau based on yuran korang. So basically that's why they say bila korang bayar yuran tu, actually the whole UiTM sebenarnya is being sponsored by government. You guys are paying 1,000, government are paying per head 5,000 in order for us to be able to handle this lah every month. This is every month, not every year every month 200,000 ni. So okay, dalam lempang lah, dalam lencong lah. But the one that UiTM is paying, okay, the one that, sorry, the student. Okay, the one that you are paying right now is only tak cukup lah untuk cover bil api saja. Not talking about salary lecturer lah apalah. Okay, so that's why if you guys notice, if I'm not mistaken, this subject back in 2018 or 2017, kita ada involve field trip to any kind of apa ni lah, yang factory ke apa yang dapat kelulusan daripada client side. But nowadays, no more because you have apa, government has started to cut off funding for UiTM, not just UiTM, the whole IPTA. So all field trips and whatnot, kena figure out something else lah. So that's why we are focusing more on group project here in the sense of using this data. Okay, that said, February, August, typically seeing less amount of electrical being used, not to still more than 150,000, but slightly less lah than normal during normal operating hours when you guys are here, 200,000. So as you can see, kilowatt hours pun actually reflect the amount being calculated in monthly punya electrical energy bills that we have to pay. Does reflect the amount of kilowatt hours being used. So 506, anything above 500, most probably UiTM have to pay RM 200,000 above lah. So if it falls under 500,000, like for example this one, February, and also August, typically UiTM be able to save around what 20, almost 20,000 above lah, 20-30,000 boleh save every month kalau korang tak ada kat sini. Okay, so that's how you want to look at your data here. That's what the data is showing you. And also the maximum demand. Okay, maximum demand ni again, since you guys maximum demand ni is actually does not cater whether you guys are here or not, because as long as chiller is on, as long as the machine is on, UiTM still have to pay on at peak hours. UiTM still have to pay the energy being consumed at that penalized rate at peak hours tu. So macam ni, even though korang tak ada pun, we are still paying a maximum demand of 1,600. So this is more depends on TNB punya monthly punya rate lah. So if they say for February, I think November, October, because monsoon season, maybe at this time around they have difficulty for them to supply the amount of electrical energy being used specifically for you to turn on that machine lagi mahal lah maximum demand dia. So that's how you know the effect of turning on the machinery during peak hours. So let's say lah, your client you want to propose something that maybe your client, maybe you tak nak elaborate so much on ESCO, you just propose to the client scheduling ke apa ke. So these are the maximum, the notable records that you might want to highlight lah. So kalau kata tak nak propose solar panel macam UiTM dulu dah buat, propose in terms of scheduling pula, in terms of MD. Because as you can see, during September, October, November ni mahal. So during only maybe April, May pun mahal. Adalah reason dia, kena check TNB lah. This one I'm not so sure about why they put maximum demand ni. I think TNB pun ada explain dalam dia punya site. So you might want to propose to the client during this April, September, October, November, try to incorporate turning on the machine after office hours, or maybe reduce instead of turning 100% of the machine, maybe use only 60 or 70% and the rest operate after office hours, maybe turning on one machine during peak hours, and then after the peak hours, then only turn on 2 or 3 machines, for example. So this MD can be used as one of your proposal key area that you want to improve. Okay, the same goes for Dungun in 2020. As you can see, we are saving much more on February and also August. But as you can see, starting from MCO, which started from March, end of March, then you can see in April, up until December 2020, there's significant result, or there's significant bills being paid lah, because tak ada office pun dah tutup, even staff pun tak boleh masuk. But of course, electricity still kena consume, because chiller semua kena on, because we have servers. If we don't regulate the temperature, servers akan rosak, internet semua akan rosak, so tak boleh. So nak tak nak, chiller masih lagi kena on. So that's why the bill is still significant, but less significant than when people are here lah in Jatim Bungun. Same goes for 2021. As you can see, even February 2021 pun bill turun, because dah lah staff tak boleh masuk, student pun tak ada, cuti SEM. And then apa nama? Yelah, those two things combined together lah. During 2020, at least, if I'm not mistaken, most of the staff still need to be here to operate on scheduling basis. But for 2021, for confirm, everyone has been asked to do BDR, or bekerja dari rumah, work from home. So lagilah significant electricity bill. And also in 2021, solar panel has been turned on. So lagi significant lah saving. But of course, if it's not sufficient, kalau you guys just show this to your client, the data here is not sufficient, because the trend line isn't visible. So that's why we need to do this. So I took the numbers, all the tables values here for 2019, 2020, and also 2021. I put it in the same column. Of course, I color coded it so that it makes me easier for me to observe which year the number belongs to. And then I put the whole period. But as you can see, in 2021, January data isn't available. I guess because data logger issues. But we are still working on getting this data lah, January, November, October ni. So I might need to revisit this data, but I guess for you guys, for your mini projects, this should be more than enough lah. Even though there's a loophole here, it's you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 8 months of data, worth of data, that you can use to plot your trend line. So 8 out of 12 for me still workable lah. Still your R going to be, not to be very accurate, but still reliable. You remember R squared when you want to do your regression analysis for your Qsum chart and trend line. Tak apalah, nanti kita tengok. So this data here, once you got the data, if you recall from plotting the Qsum chart, let me, how to plot. So you need to get this trend line, but this one they are using scatter plot. I'm going to show to you another approach, which is using a bar chart, a column bar, so that rather than using inverse and polarity, and this inverse and inverse, we are going to use the bar chart. Is much more, for me lah, it's much more convenient. So first we are going to insert and then select the first 2D clustered column. Okay, we put it here. This is another way for you to do your EI baseline and whatnot, which is to use the bar chart instead of the scatter plot. The one that I have discussed here is actually more on the scatter plot. This notes is more on scatter plot, but the one I'm trying to show to you is bar chart, because for me this is much more convenient. So we have different year, 2019, 2020, and 2021. So first we are going to select data, okay, and then add the series name. We are trying to address 2019 first, because we are going to differentiate between each year, 2019, 2020, and 2021, so that we can see the data differences once we have implemented MCO, due to the effect of people nobody's work. I mean, due to the effect of working from home, MCO, and also when we have implemented solar panel, sorry. So first 2019, which is the normal cases where everyone is here, there's no MCO, there's no solar panel. Okay, so we select the data that we want, which is we are focusing more on kilowatt hours for now. Of course, when you want to strengthen your proposal, you could include RM, but for now we are more focused on kilowatt hours first because I don't want to cover the whole set. Okay, first for 2019, kilowatt hours, select it. Okay, now you will be able to see 2019. Okay, then click OK. Now we add the other year, which is 2020 due to MCO. Then select the data, press the select the yellow values of kilowatt hours. Okay, first make sure the data is cantik lah, senang nak ni senang nak select which one. And for now we are not using MD because this is not our control. In our control, MD is from TMB, so we are more focused on kilowatt hours. RM pun kita tak boleh control because it includes the MD punya value. So that's why for now we are more focused on kilowatt hours because these are the one that actually that by turning on or off the switch will reflect the value here, kilowatt hours. Okay, select for 2020. Okay, click OK, then add another one for 2021. Okay, so for 2021, select from January to December. Despite not having some value there, but there are still values for the 8 month being shown there. So still okay for us to use it for us to compare with the baseline. Okay, and then click OK. And right now it's showing 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, which is actually can be used to reflect month. But for us to be more clear in our presentation, we'll be using January until December. So for this, we'll select a date and select the month, which is January until December, because we are comparing it year by year. So we can just use the first column on 2019 because it's just a repetition each year. So 2020 pun January December juga, for 2021 pun January December juga. So might as well just use the first one only. Click OK and then click OK. So what you can see now in 2019, irregardless of data, 2019 shows the most electrical energy consumption being used. So this is basically the trend line during normal UiTM operation hours. For 2020, due to MCO, the data does not reflect the actual but it does reflect the effect of people not going into office, students not coming to UiTM because of MCO. So it does reflect, it does show the result of people not coming in. And for the gray one, I think starting from August 2020, that the first time the solar panel has been turned on. And as you can see, starting from August, the value keep on decreasing and continues even up until February and September 2021 for gray area. So let me add the legends. So as you can see, gray 2021, we'll start experiencing an increase in electrical energy consumption compared to December 2021 because you guys started coming in back to UiTM, even though not as much as 2019 when you guys are here, but in 2021 there's slight climb, but still significantly lower than April in 2019, because at this moment, of course, not all of you coming in due to vaccination apa nama acceptance tu, yang mana tak vaksin tak boleh masuk. But still at this area, you guys can see that the effect of solar panel being turned on as compared to 2020. So 2020 ni nampak tinggi lagi, but starting from June, July, August dah start slow because solar panel dah fully turned on, has been fully adapted in UiTM Terengganu. So that's more clearer. If you want to show this to your client, this is much more clearer lah. So we are now able to understand the bills due to people not coming in and also due to solar panel punya incorporation. But cerita ni tak habis sini. Now we have to do analysis on the regression so that you guys can explain to your client in your proposal on the effect of give them some mathematical equation lah, so that it's much more clearer to your client what happened here during incorporation of solar panel. So okay, first I put this here because we might want to use this area on the left side. Okay, again, before we proceed, I need to make sure this is proper axis styles. Okay, so for chart title, you might want to use energy consumption. Uh, from TNB, because right now we have solar panels, so we need to differentiate this bill, this electrical energy consumption is actually from TNB for UITMCTKD. Okay, and this is the axis here is represent kilowatt hours, and this here represents a month. Okay, so now the chart can be seen much more clearer. Now, if we look at, hold on, where's the how to plot Qsum chart? Can I show it here? All right. So if you recall my lecture or before we started going to holiday, we are using scatter plot. And from this scatter plot, you want to produce the trend line, which will then yield the equation that we want to use to calculate our Qsum chart. Okay, so there should be y, there should be r squared. Okay, so okay, let me turn this off. Oh, sorry, this one. Okay, so this time around, I'm using bar chart. So, but actually, you can actually still produce the same. You can still get the baseline punya equation approximation to for you to move forward. So, if you want to do that, first you select the chart, then right click on any area that's not being, the free area, and then sorry, uh, rewind balik, bukan any area, we have to, because we are using the 2019 as the baseline, because we are trying to compare what happened, the effect of people not coming into the office, and also the effect of people of incorporating solar panel. So what you want to do is click on the blue bar here, because blue is 2019 data. So for the data for 2019, so right click on the blue bar and add trend line. So once you added trend line, if you open the format trend line, if you don't see it, what you should do is right click on the trend line there, and then click on format trend line. Make sure to click display equation and also display r squared. Now you can use this equation to show the for you to move forward lah, to plot the Qsum chart. Okay, first before I proceed with the next step, I want to revisit back. Okay, why is the equation that shows energy consumption punya trend? That means you can use this equation to predict the month, the next month punya electrical energy consumption. And then R squared represent how true that equation is to the actual electricity bill being used. So if you got 0.75, that means this trend line is actually more, 75% more accurate, 75% accurate. So it will be acceptable. But for now, we are only getting 0.04454, which is not that accurate. But since this is only the data that we have, this is the only data that we have, so never mind, we'll proceed with it. But bear in mind, R squared here showing to you that the data, the trend line approximated here isn't accurate. If you want to double check, of course, you can just use the scatter plot as per mentioned in the how to plot Qsum chart notes, and just use 2019 data to validate whether or not y equals to 5754.1 is actually betul, reflect the ni, and then R squared tu betul lah. Whether or not you can get and improve R squared from using scatter plot. But from my opinion, I think you're going to get the same. Of course, I can be proven wrong. I haven't tried it. But for this case, I'm going to proceed with the R squared. But bear in mind, this is not actual representation of NINAS, but only 0.0454. That means only 4.5% accurate approximation. So it will be very bad lah. The approximation here may be because of the bar chart, might be because of the data itself. I don't know. I haven't explored it in detail. It's up to you if you want to justify. But for now, I want to proceed with this. Okay, so in order for you to get the okay, now we have the data. Okay, so if you look at the guideline of the Qsum chart, the extended version, you can see once you got the data, you can use the equation to predict the next set of okay, ini baca sendiri. I don't want to elaborate now, but you can predict the next energy being consumed for the next month using the data that you have just calculated, the equation that you've just calculated. So how do we do about this? Okay, this one, of course, you can use it. You can read on your own. This one, the extended version. But I'm going to show to you how to do it. So we have here 575. Are you guys being able to see it? Hold on. I might need to zoom in. Okay, so first we create another column here, predict. So the first one, you need to use 575. You need to put in 5754.1 multiply with X, and X is the month of the bar chart, which is January. But since you can't multiply something with words, you need to give numbers lah. So for January, bulan 1 lah. So bulan 1, taruh 1 lah sini. So I put here 5754.1 multiply with B2. If you're using B10, B10 lah. For me, B2, because the number is at B2. And then the rest of the equation of y here, approximation, which is plus 519184. So you get some data there. So in order for me to see it better, because I like to see things better, I'm going to format it to numbers, decimal place. I'll leave it to 0 because we are talking about kilowatt hours. And then I'm going to use separator to make the value seems attractive enough lah. Senang nak tengok lah. Okay, so this is 524,938 kilowatt hours for the next month, which is for this month lah. Sorry, we are using not for next month, for this month. Based on this equation, we are using it to predict the January punya energy consumption based on the calculation of trend line that we have done. So we can continue this to the rest of the year, because now this equation, the blue trend line that we have we have calculated y equals to something, y equals to 5754 will become the baseline that you're going to compare for the rest of the years. So then that means what you can do is just drag this formula down so that Excel will calculate it on their own. So as you can see here, using the same formula, but this time around it will multiply with B3, which is February. The same goes for B4, for for March, and so on and so forth. Continue up until 2020, and continue up until 2021. But remember, this is the baseline. If you're talking about 2020, if you want to use 2020 as the baseline, because nanti saya elaborate lah, but you can also get the actual baseline for 2020 using the orange bar punya trend line lah. You can also use it. Select orange if you want to relocate. If you want to know the trend line for orange, which is 2020, you can just add trend line and then display R. Now you'll be able to get a more accurate R squared, which is at 0.71, but still falls under 0.75. But okay, for Qsum chart, we are only focusing for now is only on the 2019 punya baseline first. So as you can see, prediction memang off, totally off. Ni 524, this is only 476. So we need to find what is the difference. Difference between actual minus predict. Okay, so in order for you to do that, you have to equals actual is at 506 ni, E2 minus the value you found, you calculated on G2. Then press enter. Then again, do the same thing, drag down so that you can see the reflection of prediction of the data that you have predicted from the equation line versus the actual data consumption versus the predicted trend line. Okay, so as you can see here, the difference is quite high, almost 100,000. So that's why again, this is called approximation, not actual data modeling. But for our purpose, should be good enough lah. Okay, then if you look at the back to the how to plot Qsum chart nodes. Okay, we have predicted, we have difference, and now we can calculate the cumulative sum of energy differences between prediction and actual. So now we have to add another column, which is Qsum. So here, what you need to do is, okay, for the first month of Qsum chart, because you're basically not comparing it to that, you have no data previously. So what you can do is just use equals and just get the difference for the January calculation and just use it directly. So 18 minus 18, 528, the same as difference because you have no data before that. So, but for the next month, it's going to be different because now you have data to compare between this month and previous month. So what you should do is you have to press enter equals and previous month, previous month plus the energy differences between predicted and actual for the current month, which is H3. So now you get the February cumulative sum lah, differences. So now moving forward, you just drag this down only on the second row ni. Then you can use this formula to continue up until the end of 2021 December. So the number is quite huge. So I need to. So as you can see, now it shows minus 7,780,500. So the difference is quite huge. Consumption apa salah je ni? Oh, sorry ya. Okay, so now once you've got the Qsum plot data, now you can use the okay, sorry, let us revert back to, oh sorry, saya tak padam ni. Let me move this. Okay, so let me revisit back. The first month of Qsum, you just use the actual value of H2 because there's no previous months for you to compare. So just equals H2. But for the second month, February, you now have the difference between predicted of previous month compared to this month. So that's why for for the second row, you're going to use previous month punya difference, which is I2 plus with the current month punya current month punya difference. So I2, this one, previous month, plus current month punya energy consumption punya difference between actual and predicted. So and then continue onwards lah. Okay, I know the way I'm explaining it, maybe because I'm not that good in English and also, but I need the practice. So that's why it's going to be a bit more confusing. But if you do it while listening to my recorded video lecture ni, you'll be able to see it lah. Okay, now we've done Qsum chart. Now we want to present this to the client to show to them the effect, the overall effect, the trend line due to people not coming in, and also solar panel adoption. So now we need to create another chart, but now we are using trend line. Sorry, what do you call this? Line chart. But why is it terus keluar ni? Tapi tak apa, saya padam dulu nanti. Besarkan dulu. Okay, this data we are going to delete first. Tak apa, buang dulu semua terus. Buang dulu. Okay. Y bulan, month. Qsum chart, and this one will be. Sorry, let me. How do I change this? Delete. Okay. So select data. This one remove. Add. Now we change it to Qsum. We select the Qsum chart data from starting to the bottom. Press enter. And then click OK and edit this to reflect the month. But now, since we are comparing it from January 2019 to December 2021, now we are going to include all the years lah, because now we are going to put it in series. Tadi parallel, macam yang the one that we are using, the bar here, the bar chart is actually in parallel. This is this is 2019. This is 2019. This is 2020, and this is 2021. Now we are going to arrange it so that it could be continuous between each year. So that's why I'm using from January to December 2021. Okay, and then click OK. And click OK. So now, as you can see, the Qsum chart is sorry. Can I? Tak apalah. Okay, so this is basically the trend line that you might want to show to your client in your proposal. Okay, as you can see, from 2019 up until March 2020, if I'm not mistaken here, can I add data labels? Bukan. Data series. No, I think I'm using the wrong. There should be point there. Check this and hold on. Let me double check. This one. I think this one is much better. So each plot line here. But basically you can just edit this chart lah. I think you guys pun boleh explore macam mana nak include 2020 apa semua tu, plot line ni berapa label ni. Data label kan? No, data labels. Tak apalah. You guys explore so that if you hover over this, it will be able to show to you which year it belongs to. But in this case, what you can see from the Qsum chart, what you can elaborate from the Qsum chart is that starting from March 2020, due to MCO being implemented in the whole Malaysia, the energy trend line started to reduce. Okay, and then starting from August 2020, when UiTM has started to kick off their solar panel punya technology, further significance of electrical energy consumption could be observed. So this shows that the energy management program being implemented in UiTM Terengganu is effective, because now the trend line is not plateaued, it's still going down due to the adoption of solar panel. As you can see, instead of paying from the bills here 200,000, at the end of 2021, we can see almost significance of what? Satu per kali 4. a quarter of electrical, sorry, 3/4, 3/4 energy being saved overall from 240 ni 250 semua ni, we are able to pay only 1/4 je, 1/4 of almost kat sini lagi teruk ni. This one is 298 April 2019 we are paying 300,000. In April 2021 we only paying 127,000, which is of course still banyak lah, but compared to 300,000 now we are paying less than half of the 300,000. 100,000, 150,000, you guys can use it, allocate it to much more beneficial program lah. But of course, during this time, we are still under contract by ESCO, so there's some calculation being done. So I believe UiTM still have to pay around 200,000 above, but the energy saving realized in 2021 will be pocketed by the ESCO lah, since they are paying for the capital and maintenance and whatnot. And dah ada contract dah pun between UiTM dengan dia being agreed upon. So for now, this saving will not be realized to you guys yet lah. But maybe 5-10 years from now, I'm not sure the detail of the agreement between UiTM and ESCO. But I believe 5 or 10 years nanti barulah kita akan nampak this money being saved ni. Instead of paying 200,000, now we are only paying what, 50,000. That money can be used to you guys lah, maybe buat program later on. But for now, kena bear lah, sebab siapa suruh tak ada duit nak install solar panel sendiri kan. In any case, these are the data analysis that you should put in your proposal to yakinkan your client so that they hire you for their energy management program in their facilities. Okay, any questions so far regarding the data and also your group project? Semua boleh ke apa yang saya cerita tadi?
Boleh, Doktor.
Okay, thank you. I do note that maybe my explanation is going very fast, or maybe some of you guys might be lost here and there, but don't worry, I've recorded everything here and the data has already been updated in your link summary. If you guys free nanti and at your own time, have a look on the data, try to play around to get the same result Qsum chart, and then try to understand what I've just explained so that you guys can efficiently use this data to strengthen your proposal. Okay, but for today, I'm going to stop here because I need to be fair with the other class. And then I'm going to use this data analysis here because this data analysis has also been explained by Sir Azri to the other class. And then we move forward on how to use that. And I'll elaborate that more on your mini project later on the next class so that you can see an example of this Qsum chart, data analysis and whatnot to strengthen. I mean, this is not your proposal. This is just one part of your proposal. Your proposal, as you can see in your, sorry, let me show it back. Okay, if you're able to see the course outline, not this one. Where's the group project? This one, I think. Yeah. Okay, if you can see this one, you need to have all the details here. So the one that I've just discussed is more on item number 7 here. Is it? Hold on. Training awareness. Information system 7.1.5. This is more, 6, evaluation and audit. So you and also 7.1.4.5 ni lah. Basically, evaluation and audit is where you put all the data here. Okay, there are a few approaches that you can use. Okay, I'll just briefly touch. for your mini project, you can either propose the next step for your ATM Terengganu, which means maybe next time, maybe rather, okay, now that we have apa nama, solar panel, maybe now you want to introduce scheduling operation, or maybe introduce more work from home, or the other way around, you can use this data from your Terengganu to approach another company using the data that you have to propose to them for them to use solar panel. So everything can be used in this calculation. The one that I've just discussed can be put under evaluation and audit as a case study to propose to your client. Okay, you might want to use solar panel because, as you can see, significant dia punya savings ni from the Qsum chart. And this is the Qsum chart shows that it's still going down. It's not plateaued yet. That means there are still more energy saving can be realized in the future for your Terengganu because of solar panel ni. Okay, but that said, your report proposal, I leave it up to you how you want to maneuver it. But basically, what I'm saying is that this Qsum chart, the one that I've just discussed, is not the end all be all. This is just one part of it. This is just item number 6. And also, the next class, I'm going to show to you an example of a complete energy audit, EM energy management proposal for another case study from previous students to show to you how the final report should be done, the proposal should be done. Okay, so for today, if there's a question, I would, nak tanya, boleh tanya dulu before I end the session. Any questions so far? No?
No, sir.
All right. So if there is none, so I guess I'll end the session today.